As a child, we all long for a hero. As a society as a whole, we search for that leader that can be our hero. But as we mature and as we grow, it dawned on us that the hero is inside every one of us. And in the world's social media, we all start at zero. And slowly we search deep within ourselves to find who we are. And we have that moment of truth where we embrace that the hero that we've been searching for has been there all along. It is living deep inside of every one of us. And we start embracing that journey and we become that hero that we search for.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 111 of Zero to Hero, presented by J29 Creative Group. Lucky to have another great guest coming at you today. This guy is one of the best lenders in the entire country, let alone lucky enough to have him right here in Kansas City. His name is Darren Copeland. He is the founder, president, and CEO of Summit Lending. So let's go ahead and bring him in. Darren, how are you this morning?
Gino, what is up, man? Hey, thank you so much for having me. And dude, that intro, that is stellar. Where did you guys come up with that?
You know what? We got some creative geniuses over here. I can't take any credit for it whatsoever.
Right.
It's not me. It's not me. But we do have we've got some awesome creatives within our organization for sure. But hey, we're here to talk about you. So tell us a little bit about Summit Lending. What do you guys do? What do you got coming up?
Yeah, man. So I've been around the block for a long time. I've been in the mortgage business for 20 years. My wife and I were super blessed enough that 5 years ago, we broke off and started our own brokerage here in Kansas City. And man, it was one of the best moves that I've ever made in my career. And for those of you that don't know, I know mortgages are they're so sexy to talk about, right? Okay, not really. We always joke, the real cool part of the whole process is people finding a house that they want to buy, right? People aren't trolling around Saturday nights at 10 o'clock online looking at mortgages, right? They're looking at houses, they're looking at the bedrooms and the kitchens and all that. But man, we just absolutely love what we do. And I got to give props to my wife, Liz. Her nickname's Chili Pepper, but Liz is my better half. She is our operations manager. And man, just super grateful for her, because without her and her team on the ops side, what we do to help people get into homes, we help people purchase and refinance their primary homes and investment properties. But without that back office, man, we would not have just seen the extreme growth that we've had over the past 5 years. And we're just super grateful to be a top 40 mortgage broker in the country right now. We're well on our way to be in the top 10. So it's so cool to see how things have happened over the years, and to get noticed and start doing great shows like this. Gino, really appreciate you guys reaching out and having us on today.
Oh, no, man. I appreciate you coming on, because as a first-time home buyer myself, less than 10 years ago, right, I was very lost, right? And I think a lot of first-time home buyers are, and it's probably something people should be looking at a little bit later at night, right, after they're done looking at those bedrooms and the basement and the nice windows, right? And all the pretty stuff, right? But there's so much more that goes into it. And I think a lot of, what happened in my situation, Darren, was the realtor said, I've got somebody.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's probably what happens to a lot of people. You're not doing a lot of shopping around for who's the best lending company. So can you maybe give some insight into maybe why that is, and maybe why people should look around a little bit more?
Well, that's a great point. And you'd be amazed. Like what I tell people, when you're getting a loan and you read all these loan documents, right? It's literally like you're reading a foreign language, right? It's like you're reading Spanish. So everyone should get 2 quotes. And the thing is, a lot of people these days that I've noticed, whether it's, insurance, mortgages, other things like that, it seems like everything has come back and people want to work with someone local, right? They want to work with someone local because relationships are everything. So when your realtor, refers someone, that's great, but also, get a second opinion, because not to bore you to death, but on the broker side, we have 40 banks that we work with. We don't have 3 different layers of management. We don't have these huge buildings. We don't have all this overhead, which means all that savings is passed directly to the borrower. And it's nothing against the big banks. I used to be on the retail side for years and had a great run over there. But, we all get our money from the same place. Okay. All the banks get their money from the same place. It just depends on how good a deal that you can get for yourself. And that's what we do, man. Like, we have over 300 5-star Google reviews. We slate on that. So the thing that I do, Gino, is like literally when I have the first conversation with a borrower, I'm like, hey, listen, here's the deal. You're a future 5-star Google review for us. Okay. So that kind of makes them relax a little bit. And they're like, oh, you know what? Darren's pretty serious about this, and we feel good that he's going to give us a great experience through the whole process. So I kind of put that pressure on us in the very beginning, because I truly mean it. Like, we're a little bit different. We actually care, Gino, when people close on their house, get in there on time, because that is our future next referral, because they're going to go out and tell all their buddies what a great experience they have. And also right now, the way that the market is, interest rates are a little bit higher right now. We all know that, but they will come down in the future. No one knows exactly when they will come down, but everything that we look at right now when we're working with clients is we're going to do at least another couple deals with these clients over the next 12, 18, 24 months. So when the market corrects and interest rates go down, that's just a future refi. So that's why it's so important. Everything in life is relationships, right? So we try to have as many great relationships with our real estate referral partners that are out here. And by the way, here's a quick plug, Gino, for the real estate agents out there is, man, if you're thinking about buying a house or selling a house, please, please, please get a professional on your side. Don't try to do the for sale by owner thing, man, because there's just so many pitfalls that people can run into. And then then I turn into the real estate agent, and I'm not a licensed realtor. So you need to work with someone who has your back and is a rock star. So make sure you've got some really good people. And and that's what we do with a lot of our folks too. We've been around for over 20 years in the business, and if someone needs someone really good to get hooked into, we work with several great agents that we can plug them into depending on where they're going to buy in the city to make sure they get taken great care of.
Yeah, I love it, man. And we are very blessed to have some real estate agents in the area that genuinely care, right? I mean, they're very similar to you. They're not just out for a quick buck. I think obviously there's a few of those in every industry everywhere. Right? But no, exactly. we do have some great ones here for sure. Let's get into we talk a little bit about kind of traditional lending. What are some of the other options? How can people kind of use lending as a way to gain assets or a way to gain income?
Yeah, exactly. So the cool thing is I can help advise people. So if they're thinking about getting into the investment realm, I can help them and give them some advice on investment properties, hook them in with a property manager so they're not, taking those calls at midnight for broken toilets and things like that. But more importantly, you can run the numbers and analyze it to make sure that it's going to be a great investment. Because the great thing is, Gino, numbers don't lie, right? Numbers either make sense or they don't make sense, right? And that's what we love to do. So we can crunch that out and see if it's going to make sense for them. We have several different investment loans. We have all different sorts of different products. So, we're signed up with over 40 different banks. So we have these things called DSCR loans for investors, which means the qualification comes back to how much rent is expected to come in on the property, and they don't have to show all their tax returns and go through all of that. So the DSCR is really popular on investment loans. Hey, here's another thing. Remember when I told you earlier, there's a lot of things up here. You just kind of have to extrapolate it a little bit. So here's one thing I want to throw out there, and I wish I would have done this when I was a first-time home buyer. So a lot of people don't realize. So if you're a first-time home buyer, or if you have your VA eligibility, which means you served our country and you have your VA eligibility and you can get the 100% financing. So two things, either FHA or VA, a buyer can go in and buy a duplex or a fourplex, and as long as they live in one of the units as their primary residence, they can use one of these very, very low down payment programs to get in and start building their wealth and start building their investment portfolio. So like, let's say someone who's going to buy a fourplex and they're going to use an FHA loan, which is 3.5% down, go in, move into that unit for 2 years, have those people helping them pay off the mortgage. And then after that, if they want to go buy another one, now they have a fourplex that's being rented out. They've built equity. They're paying, they're having other people paying it down for them. The tax benefits, like, it's just such an absolute no-brainer house hack. So the good real estate agents out there are sharing that good word with their clients. So that's why there's so many good nuggets, because like the way I view my job, Gino, is I'm not selling anyone anything, right?
Right.
We're moving money, right? So my role is more of being an educator to seeing, hey, tell me what your situation is, apply, we'll see, what you have going on. We can come up with a game plan for you and then point them in the right direction to go make the best decision for themselves.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah. So honestly, probably before you even get on Zillow, right?
Yeah, right.
The first stop maybe should be to give Darren a call and say, what are my options, right? What can I afford? Does this make sense, right? Whether it's investment or whether you're looking for your own home, right? Especially first-time home buyers, figure out, what you're getting into, right? Darren's obviously a good resource there, somebody that you can come talk to and really kind of find out, outside of a real estate agent for sure. So I appreciate you sharing that information, Darren, for sure. Let's get into a little bit of the meat of the show here. So I'm going to ask you to set everything we just talked about aside, including Summit Lending, your background as a loan officer. Tell me, who is Darren Copeland? Give us the elevator pitch about who you are.
Man, I tell you what, that's a great question, man. I'm a believer, number one, husband, dad. We're huge baseball nerds. Like, we love sports, right? You probably saw recently, my wife and I just knocked out stadiums number 21 and 22. So we have 8 more parks to hit. I'm getting older. I joke around about that. I'm just still glad I have my hair, dude, compared to some of my buddies. But so now there's like 4 ballparks that we've been to that are closed, right? So we had to go out to Oakland and hit that one last time before they build their new stadium in Las Vegas, which that'll be pretty cool. But man, like, who Darren Copeland is man, I'm a family guy, number one. I love sports, and dude, I just love helping people. And I'm at a point now in my life that it's time of giving back, right? So it's not only just helping people on getting mortgages and stuff, but it's also investing myself and pouring into. So, we're growing quite a bit with other loan officers. We're in over 20 states. So, it's taking all this knowledge that I've built over 20 years and putting that back and helping these young people. Cause I had a lot of people early on in my career help me out and lift me up. So now that's my turn now, Gino, to help those people and cut down on their learning curve, cut down on their mistakes, and do all that fun stuff. But by enabling to do that, then my wife and I, we can do the fun stuff like going to Arizona for spring training, for the Royals, and following our Chiefs, which has just been such an amazing run over the 5 or 6 years. A lot of people don't realize, my son growing, he's 16. He doesn't remember the Chiefs being bad, right? He doesn't remember all the heartbreaking losses we had way back in the day as Chiefs fans. So, dude, it's amazing how things work out. So, I was born here. I went to Truman High School back in the day in Independence. No one make fun. Went to college up at William Jewell and Liberty, and had just I'm just Kansas City through and through.
I love it, man. I love it. Absolutely. Yeah, we're awful spoiled right now. My 6-year-old, I like to remind her, I'm like, you literally have never been alive for a bad season of Chiefs football. You've had a few bad Royal seasons, for sure. But I mean, even the bad seasons during your life would have been the best season I had ever seen before you were born. So.
Exactly. Well, and also I want to give a shout out to the Kansas City Royals. So it was about 12 years ago, and I did one of the coolest things ever. I don't know if you've heard about this, Gino, but it's called Royals Fantasy Camp. Okay. And I want to give a shout out to all my brothers that I've met over the past decade at Royals Fantasy Camp. So basically what it is, and they do an amazing job, right? So you have, essentially you go down to Arizona for a week, and it's called Royals Fantasy Camp, and you act like a kid for a week and you play ball like you're a major leaguer. I love it. You're in the major league locker room. You get the uniforms. You have the alumni that are your coaches, like George Brett, Alex Gordon, Willie Wilson, like Dennis Leonard. I could just go on and on and on. So many cool guys do. But I tell you what, if there's any guys listening on here that ever want to do something really cool, check out Royals Fantasy Camp, because there's 100 guys that go down there, and you could meet any better guys that go down there, and just the friendships, the networking, the everything you get out of there to feel like a kid, man. It's so much fun. So you should check it out, man. It's really cool.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, we've had Joel Goldberg on the show before, and
Yeah.
I'm loving seeing him get splashed. It seems like nightly now. I mean,
Oh yeah.
he's catching his
Yeah.
salvie splash, which is
Oh yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
We out 50, 60 more of those out of this season. We'll be in really good shape for sure.
Oh no, good shape. And we, Jeff Montgomery's been one of my coaches. He's one of the announcers. But talk about a good guest. If you could ever get him on, we actually have a podcast that we were doing quite a bit the past couple of years called Always Be Cool podcast. But Rex Hudler, man, if you could get him in there and talk about a guy with some stories, that dude is amazing.
Yeah, we got to get him in here with the baseball for sure.
Oh yeah, right.
We got to get him in here with the ball for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I mean, going back to Kansas City though, I just want to highlight that again. I mean, we're so fortunate with not only the Royals coming back this year, but I mean, Sporting Kansas City has been underratedly one of the best franchises that we've had in the city for a long time. And then the emergence of the Current. I mean, how cool that they're packing that place every night. They still haven't lost a game. I mean, it's absolutely, we're so spoiled. And then we've got, the Monarchs and the Mavericks as well, right? Which are, I mean, just we're spoiled. So yeah, man, I love it. I love the Kansas City. I can see it in you for sure. I'm very similar in that way too. So I love that about you, man. So obviously when you started Summit Lending 5 years ago, right? We had zero social media presence. We had no pages, no likes, no follows, no content. So talk to us a little bit about that social media journey, how we went from zero to how you guys are clearly using it as a tool now to educate people.
Yeah, I think it's just like anything. You have to have a plan in place, right? And when I told my wife 5 years ago that, hey, we're breaking off from this company that we were with from 11 years ago, she was like, are you crazy? What are you thinking? I'm like, I'm just telling you right now, like this, we just need to go do our own thing. Let's not have to answer to anyone. And if something makes sense, we just go do it, right? Let's grow at our own pace and let's go out there and kill it, right? So with that being said, it's just having a plan on the social media. So, we try to mix in a little bit of business, but, I heard one time, what is it? The four is like food, faith, family. I'm missing another F. Food, faith, family. There's another F. But anyway, that's what people really gravitate to, right? Like you want the interaction. You want to ask people what their favorite restaurants are. You want to tell them about your family, different things like that for, engagement. So we tried to do a lot of the personal stuff. And then, oh, by the way, here's a great mortgage program. Or, oh, by the way, hey, let's welcome so-and-so new loan officer that we just hired in Washington or something like that. So we try not to, because like I said earlier, mortgages aren't the most sexiest thing in the world, right? So we just try to make a blend, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn. We're getting better on
Oh, did I lose you there, Darren? Sure, that's nice. All right, looks like we got a little bit of technical difficulty going on here with Darren. That's the joys of a live show, as you've seen so many times on this broadcast before. Let's see if we can get him back in here. Here we go. We got him back.
Okay, you want me to just keep rolling?
Yeah, go jump right back into it, man. I loved what you were saying.
All right, so basically it comes down to just having a plan in place,
Yeah.
to where you're like, on the regular, because if you don't have it scheduled out, just like anything else in your life, you might go several days or a week or something like that. So you just need to make sure that you have it in your planner to post something. And like, probably like you, Gino, is, I'm always looking for cool stuff. So if I'm trolling and I see something that is really cool, I think it's going to be beneficial for a lot of people, we'll store that away. So, you don't want to have like writer's cramp if it's a Saturday morning and you need to post something. You want to have something in your back pocket, like, oh my gosh, like, here's a restaurant, or here's something, a really cool tip that you can put out there. And also what we have found is, we have this rule around here, Gino, the ABC rule, which is always be cool. You always want to be cool with other people too. So you want to go in to other people that you're following and stuff and and it's not liking, it's not enough, but actually putting a comment in there to help the algorithms on there, that goes a long way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think you nailed quite a few things there, right? You can't constantly be selling on social media, right? Nobody wants to like a page where they feel like they're constantly being badgered with offerings and pitches all the time, right? So I think it vastly important to mix in that entertainment factor as well. And make sure not every post is that, right? I mean, sometimes it's good. Hey, this is, CJ from New York just joined our team, right? Or happy birthday, right? Some of those posts seem to be with our pages anyways, the ones that do the best, right? And the ones that people actually enjoy the most. It's not, hey, what's new in marketing today? It's, hey, it's Caitlin's birthday.
Right.
So, it's really interesting for sure. But yeah, and to bring in the vanity metrics, I mean, and what you mentioned was not vanity metrics, but yeah, absolutely, liking other people's pages so other people get visibility on that, right? But it's really interesting. I think a lot of people get caught up on, the vanity metrics of X amount of people like this post, right?
Right.
And one of the things we have a hard time kind of explaining to people is the people that are buying from you are not the ones that are stopping to like the posts, right? They're going to the website to get more information, or they're picking up the phone call. They're picking up the phone to make the call. They're not going to stop and drop that like in the comment. But I love what you said about, the network, man. The network is huge. Help out your friends, help out your neighbors, especially if you believe in what they're doing, man. It's absolutely vital to get your network's eyes on what they're doing as well. So I love everything you said.
I think there's another big thing to throw in there, with all the negativity out there today in just different areas of the world. Just being the light, just being positive and throwing positive things out there, because, positivity attracts other people. They want to be a part of that, right? The abrasiveness and stuff, that propels people away, right? So, again, sharing success stories, lifting others up, sharing just good news. I think that's really what people are yearning for these days.
Absolutely. No, it tickles me when people say, oh, social media is so negative. And I used to be the exact same way, right? And I didn't realize that my social media was negative because I was looking for that on social media, right? It was showing me what I was looking for subconsciously, right? The second you change that, right, and you realize, oh, I need to fix that, right? Start pushing different things, right? You'll be amazed at the positivity you can actually find on social media. I very rarely come across, those, unless it's like, the recent events, especially specifically with the Chiefs, seem to be finding my algorithm pretty often right now. But hopefully we get that figured out. But outside of that, not too much is coming across there. So, be careful of what you're looking for on there, because you will find what you're looking for, whether you are intentional about it or not. Okay. So definitely be intentional about what you're looking for on there for sure. I love that. Yeah. Great point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Darren, every superhero has a defining moment. What do you think yours is, not only when it comes to your career, but your life as well?
Man, a defining moment. Okay. So you want personal and business?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. All right. So I got a really good personal one, because number one, it's true, and number two, it'll keep me out of trouble. Okay. So my defining part of my life is when I started dating my wife, Liz. And, I'll be perfectly transparent. I had my first one didn't work out well. I call it a practice marriage, not something I'm proud of, because, we all have to grow up. We all have to learn. Right. Yeah. So I had a second chance, and my wife Liz is my biggest cheerleader, man. Like, no matter what we're doing, she's always on the sideline cheering me on. So to have someone that is completely behind you, that believes in you, and shares your vision of, what success is, and family and traveling and all that, like, that's no brainer. Don't even have to think about it. Right. Yeah. So that was defining moment for me, with my wife, Liz. Okay. So personally, personally, I was in my late 20s. I was working for a very large financial planning group. They're a national company. I was a regional manager, thought I was hot stuff, whatever. And I traveled so much, man. Like, I had like this middle management position, the company credit card, blah. And but dude, the travel was just so brutal. And I got to the point, and it was actually a blessing. I always look at, hey, whatever happens, what is the blessing in this? Like, what are you going to look back and be like, man, I am so glad that happened to me? Because we all know how fast life is, right? You might have a job in your late 20s. Some people might be unhappy about it. And the next thing you know, you're 20 years later, someone's in that same job, right? So it got to a point, my manager was like, hey, over the next 2 months, you're going to travel on the West Coast to blah, blah, blah. And you'll be home like maybe a week. I'm like, dude, nope, I can't. Nope, I'm not going to do it. So I resigned. I had nothing lined up. My parents were appalled because, they're old school, right? Like, you just don't quit, right? Especially when you have a good corporate job. And I just knew at that point, I was like, you know what? I don't have a lot of responsibility. I've got some money saved up, but if I don't break off right now and be an entrepreneur and do the thing, like, this is my chance, right? This is my chance to do it. And I was talking with a buddy of mine here in Kansas City, who's still an insurance rep. And he's like, hey man, you're good with people. You're good with numbers. I have a buddy that owns a mortgage brokerage here in Lee Summit. Why don't you go talk to him? So what's crazy is, 20 years ago, I went to work for a brokerage. Then I went to work and helped build a large correspondent letter here in Kansas City. And then here I am, at this point in my career, owning a fairly large brokerage myself. So it's just kind of cool. Like, everything, has come full circle. But that defining moment allowed me to get in the mortgage business, learn it. And for those of you listening, when I got in the business in 2003, I never knew what a turn down was on a mortgage. Like, literally, I went several years, and if someone could fog a mirror, they could get a loan, right? And then we entered the 07, 08, the financial crisis, and everything blew up, right? So I have seen the mortgage business from kind of what it was 20 years ago, like the Wild Wild West, to, evolve. You always have ups and downs, and here we are right now. But dude, it all comes down to, Gino, is no matter what interest rates are doing, people are going to buy houses. And at the end of the day, you have to focus on helping your people and making relationships with referral partners that can send you business. So you got to do an awesome job with your past database, right? Because those people are your biggest raving fans. And you have to continue to make relationships with realtors to make sure that you make them look like rock stars for referring you to get to, to get to the closing table on time. And everyone closes and everyone gets a house and they're happy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. So it's right in line with several of the other defining moments that we hear, where it's this moment of crisis and a decision's made, right? Yeah. And the rest is almost history from there. I love it, man. I love it. Yeah. It really, the reason I'm at J29 is very similar. We can talk about that after the show, but kind of a similar. I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to go look for something else. My wife was like, what are you doing?
Right. What are you thinking?
Here we are. It all works out.
Yeah.
Now, villains have, kind of attributes that kind of describe who they are, as do heroes. What do you think the attributes are that really define more of that hero side than the villain?
Okay, you cut out there just for a second. So describe the heroes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. What are the attributes you really feel define what a hero is versus a villain?
Man, that's a great question. So I think, as far as a hero goes, I think the hero it's not about them internally. I think a hero is self-serving to help others, either get through a tough spot or help point them through, and not have, I think the evil part where it can happen is if they act like they're helping people, but truly they have their own agenda and they're trying to put those people in that own agenda. Dude, that doesn't follow the ABC rule, right? That's not always being cool, right? It's just like, not everyone's meant to do everything. Like, if a hero identifies a person's strengths and weaknesses and their goals, and they figure out a way to help them, right? And to do what's right for that person and not make it about them. So I think that's a huge attribute, when it comes down to that, because, dude, you just got to be around cool people at the end of the day, right? Unfortunately, not everyone's like that.
Unfortunately, it's not, for sure.
Right.
Wouldn't it be so cool if everybody was always being cool?
Right. Yeah. But you know what?
World.
The thing is, like, and I love the title of the show, like Zero to Hero, because I look back in my journey, and, you probably can relate to this, man. If I knew now, this is such an old statement. If I knew now that I could go back and tell my, 22-year-old self, that would cut out so many issues, so many problems. But I think we're meant to learn our lessons, right? And if, I always tell people, you don't lose, you just learn. So if you learn from those mistakes, be very, very careful, what you put in your headspace, whether it's social media, movies, news, things like that, because all that stuff sticks up there. You just have to be very, very careful what you allow and what you don't allow, in your world, that's really going to affect your personal life and how you're going to move forward and how to help others along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Be intentional, right? With what you got going on in there, right? But yeah, no, I think you're 100% right with the failure part of it, right? And that learning, right? I think, I tell people in my circle all the time, if we never failed, you wouldn't learn half the lessons that you're supposed to. Right? I mean, that's where a lot of those real lessons come from, is through that failure. So I love that you brought that up. Now I'm gonna ask you the hard one here, Darren. If you had to pick one superhero that relates best to Darren Copeland, who would that be? And tell us a couple of reasons why.
Man, a superhero. Okay, so I'm a big Star Wars nerd. Does Han Solo count as a superhero? I mean,
and if it is in your world, it counts on the show for sure.
I mean, I would say he is. Princess Leia. I mean,
it was heroic when that movie came out, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I was young coming up, and man, the heroes, like, man, Luke Skywalker and Han Solo, man, they were just the ultimate for me. But it's a classic story, right? It's good versus evil, right? If you watch all these movies, Star Wars, Marvels, like, it's the same premise, right? Right? You've got your heroes, the villains rise up, and then the heroes come in and they win at the end of the day, right? So I don't know. I just always liked the stories of Star Wars. And the thing is, like, I really liked about Han Solo, I even named my dog Chewie after Chewbacca back in the day. That's right. So, I just think, him being, cavalier and always a kind of a rebel type of guy, not fitting in and just doing his own thing. That's what I love. Like, he never conformed. He eventually always did the right things, but man, he was always pushing the limits and didn't always follow the rules exactly.
Absolutely, a little rough around the edges, but Han's backstory is he's like a smuggler, right?
Yeah,
isn't that like he's like he like starts off as a villain, and then Luke comes in with this clean cut, always been a hero type mentality, and kind of Han jumps on that. And I love that, man. That's a great answer for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Darren, man, thank you for coming on the show. You have been awesome. How can people get in touch with you? How can they follow you? How can they get in contact with you if they've got questions?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if there's any links that you guys want to share, go ahead and do that. But you guys can hit us up. Our website is summitlendingusa.com. Our local phone number here in Kansas City is 816-268-4025. You guys can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on Facebook. So, just Google Summit Lending or Darren Copeland. We're all over. Check us out on our reviews. And man, if anyone just has any questions at all, I don't care if you're buying in a year or 2 years or whatever, you're never bugging us. We're always here to help. So thanks for that shout out, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great place to start. Whether it's you're looking to buy a house for yourself, or you're looking for investments, or maybe you just want to learn a little bit more about the industry, right? Definitely a good resource for sure. So, Darren, again, man, thank you for coming on the show. You're absolutely awesome. I can't wait to watch what you guys do.
Hey, thanks so much, Gino, for having me, dude. It was a pleasure being here.
Hey, are we still live? Hey guys, we're still live. Hey guys, this is Kevin Kwok, founder of J29 Creative Group. So who are we? We're a marketing agency here in Kansas City. We're all about a holistic approach to marketing that builds your brand and nurtures online community. But to be honest with you, you guys don't care.